All right, we've got 4 games to discuss here, and I wanted to kick things off with that Titans and Dolphins matchup. And obviously, from the Titans side of things, they've got a lot to sort out. Obviously, defensively, they're really struggling at the moment. They did get Jaden Campbell and David Fafita back, 2 of their really important attacking cogs to this side. And obviously, if you can get that side going, then that's going to help out a lot. But it does all start on the handling side and the defensive side. Because we know that if you can keep teams out, they get frustrated, they try a bit more. They usually provide you guys with a few errors and a few drop balls so you can come out on the other side and build some momentum on top of that. So that's where a lot of this is built, and that's where teams like the Dragons, who obviously come out and got a win as well on the weekend, they were able to build and score their points off the back of the attacking errors that Manly were making. And that's something the Titans need to sort out in this one, definitely. We do have to talk about Tanner Boyd. I do think his spot is in a little bit of trouble at this point. We've got Tom Weaver, who's obviously a nice young player as well. I would give him another couple of weeks, but I do think that he needs to take a little step up and show some improvement as well. The way they played their edge players, Fafita came on and played 56. They had, Cleese Haas with 48 minutes, and then Beau Fermor, he came on as well and obviously played the full 80. Unfortunately, he doesn't look himself at the moment, Beau, what he did back in 2022. So I do think as well with him, you need to give him some time. How much time can you give these Titans players? And who would have thought that Des Hasler would come to this club and they would be none from 3 with a bye in their scoring at the moment. It's not great. And I do think they can turn around. They obviously have enough talent. Without Tino, it's going to make it very hard, but they need to be better than this. And I think they can be better than this. On the Dolphins side, I do think that the introduction of Tom Flegler into this side has been absolutely massive. He's now either scored a try or set up a try in 2 of their 3 games and has provided some terrific punch from the middle. That offload he had through to Hammer, who was always in and around the ruck there, was very impressive. And that's, you couldn't hope for anything more than what Flegler has provided in his first 3 games at the Dolphins club. And it's exactly what they needed. As I said, they lacked a little bit of that. They had some stalwarts in the side in the Bromwich brothers and Felice Kafusi trying to put shots on and the like. But I do think that Flegler is absolutely important to this cog. If he can get, and Max Plath obviously had a pretty bad hip drop tackle and has copped a couple of weeks for it. But those 2 guys there have done really good things through the middle with some speed. There's some similarities in obviously their hair and everything, which is funny to add to that. But both those guys doing great work through there and then getting out to their gun outside backs, which has been very impressive. In the last few weeks, Isaiah Katoa and Cody Nikarima there getting them around the park, which has been awesome. So congrats to those Dolphins and their efforts at the moment. Manly, just a bit of an off game. We're gonna leave it at that for them. Lots of errors for Tommy Trbojevic. And you've got Olakuatu, who's that absolute weapon on that right-hand side, and he looks like he's continuing to get better and putting more work in on a week-to-week basis, taking more runs and doing great things. And the rest of the side, as I said, it was an off one. DCE had a couple of errors there as well. Brooks wasn't at his best, and Tommy sort of struggled as well. So that's the Eagles side. For the Dragons, as I said, don't worry about that for the Eagles. For the Dragons, it's great to see that they were able to keep Manly to 12 points. Anytime that they got any good ball in their half, in the Dragons' half, they didn't look like they were going to penetrate. And that was down to the Dragons putting a little bit more onus on the defensive side, like we've spoken about the last couple of weeks. So massive for them. And obviously they have enough good players, enough attacking weapons in there with Hunt putting on 3 tries. You got Sloan there with a couple of tries there. Even Lomax didn't have to do too much on that right-hand edge this week. So awesome work for them. They've got enough through the forwards as well with Harmsele returning as well. So if they can improve that defense, I think they have enough points in them to win a bunch of these types of games. And obviously, if Eagles were a little bit more in their game, you'd say it'd be right in the balance. But a great win for the Dragons, well needed for the club to have 2 wins out of 4 now. Not the worst in the world, not the worst in the world at all. So good stuff for them. For the Warriors and the Knights, we'll stick with the Warriors first, and they were obviously very impressive at home. They didn't look like they were any chance of losing this match, to be honest with you. Very much controlled it across the way, and guys like Egan, Johnson, and Tohu Harris there. That trio to then go and have Roger out the back, and the big question here is what are they going to do with Chance and Roger? I do think they're going to be a better team when Chance comes back into this side, but they probably won't rush him. So if he's not completely 100%, I think it's best to keep Roger at the back. You've got Adam Pompey who comes back into this side this week, and he played every game last year. So they're not losing out too much by not rushing him back. So I do think that's a good idea, just to make sure that he's 100% fit. And if he is going to be a massive in for this side. We saw what they were able to do left to right last year, especially on that right-hand side. And we do know that Chance is obviously looking to pass a little bit more than run in those situations. Very good out of trouble. And we saw that with their back three last year, how good they were out of that. Chance is great at that too. So Roger's got the fancy steps, and he's absolutely incredible. There's no doubt about it. But I do think Chance back in this side, you can move Roger back to the centres. He's going to take plenty of runs still. He'll still get his 20 runs, Roger, and he can impact the game that way, and then obviously in shape on that left-hand side. But Chance just creates another dimension to this team that there's no doubt as the reason why they are not playing as well as last year. I do think a part of that is to do with Chance not being in this side. Johnson obviously has had a little bit of an issue with a quad strain as well, or a groin, which he's not been kicking goals, but he is back to that this week, and he hasn't shown his incredible running game that he has last year. But outside of that, the team is very much similar, and I'm excited to see Chance back in this team. But a great win for the Wars at home. Good stuff for them. From the Knights side of things, they need to be getting Ponga, Kai Pearce-Paul, Bradman Best involved a lot more. Bradman had a lot of runs in this game, but it wasn't in good ball. They didn't have a lot of space sometimes, and I think they got to use their big fella in Kai Pearce-Paul closer to the line more often. There are times that he did get to run were out of trouble, right? Just those early sort of second or third run in the set. If they can get him off the back of a quick play the ball, get him one-on-one with the opposite half, that would be great. It didn't happen once this whole game. The only time that he got involved and looked a little bit threatening was when he was going across field and had the arm out ready to offload, right? And that's not what we want him doing. We want him running hard at a line, either at that half or just to the left or right of him, and create a bit of confusion in that defense. And then you can have Ponga sweeping out the back, or he can get that arm out and get it to Bradman Best or something like that, right? The halves, unfortunately, at the moment aren't getting him early ball, aren't getting Ponga any ball. He didn't even hardly touch the ball in the second half, Ponga, and they were looking to make a comeback. So was Hastings dropping? Was that the correct call? I'm not sure at the moment, but either way, no matter which combination they've had so far, they obviously haven't had the Hastings and Cogger combination, but the combinations they've used so far all haven't worked yet. So Adam O'Brien, he's got a few things to think about, which combinations are going to be best for this side, because there's a good footy side in them. We saw it last year. We've seen glimpses of it in certain tries, in certain patches of games, but we need it for an 80-minute effort, and it just hasn't happened yet. So Adam's got plenty to think about, plenty to work out across this next few weeks, especially, and they've got time. They'll win the odd game like they did last week, which was super important to them, but they need to probably get one next week or the week after at least to be sort of 3 out of 5, 2 out of 5, 3 out of 6. 2 out of 6, something like that at worst. They can't lose these next few, I don't think. Otherwise, heads will drop and they'll get into a little bit of trouble, a little bit of panic, I would say. So, Knights, few things to sort out, but overall, not the worst if we're looking at them. And then to finish things off, Sharks were able to show that they have a lot of points in them. Raiders definitely weren't anywhere near their best in this game. They started really well, got 3 tries away, and you're like, okay, the Raiders are going to kill them. But we're seeing that with a lot of teams. It's all about momentum. It's all about getting off on the right foot. And if you can do that, the tries come very quickly. And it happened for the Raiders at the start, and then it absolutely was an avalanche for the Sharks in the second half of this game and the back end of the first half. They almost could have gone up by sort of 6 after being down 18-0. So that's it was a very back and forth, flowy type of game. That's for sure, of momentum. Nico just got them around the park and then got it out to edges. And just a big shout out to Kale Iro, who we've spoken about for a while now, and he's come out and showed what he can do when he gets early ball, when he gets a bit of space there. He was incredible at that. Raiders, as I said, just need to clean up their errors a bit, and if they can sort that out, then they're a good chance of going on with these types of games and then beating really good teams in the Sharks on a regular basis. But unfortunately, they'll be very upset with the amount of points they led in at 36. They scored enough 22 in this game to win a 22-18, and they just absolutely fell off the wagon from about the 25-minute mark throughout the rest of the game, and they never really recovered. So That's 2 losses in a row for Raiders now. I think they'll have a good hard look at themselves, and I'm expecting them to bounce back well, especially defensively next week. So have a look out for that. It won't be a big issue for them. But Sharks, really good to see them obviously have a nice bounce back from their tough loss last week. And yeah, they needed that because it started really poor, 18-0 to come back with that. Just shows that they're not fully ready yet to dominate this league, but they're also have all of the pieces that's necessary, even with a forward pack that was down and out a little bit. Obviously, with a few out, you had McInnes play big minutes there, and then a few of the other boys. Kafusi almost went down the first couple of minutes, but Billy Burns come on and played some decent minutes there on an edge and looked really strong. And they even had Atkinson come on for 11 and Hartapua only 20 as well, but they were still able to get on top of the Raiders, which didn't happen in the first sort of 20 minutes, but it happened for the rest of the game. So something for both teams to look at, but Sharks going into the bye, really happy with a win. They'll go in happy, and hopefully they can come out the other side and continue to show their supreme talent, because they're a really fun team to watch. And yeah, so that's the 4 games, guys. Hope you really enjoy the final Easter Monday game of round 4, and we'll see you in the next one.